land how to farm because none of them knew how to work the unique land that was over here better than we did.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, 5 indigenous tribes were located on land. Notice they specify on land that would be highly sought for settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Especially as was prime land for the cultivation of cotton. The tribes on the land were the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, and Seminole.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Over time, the tribes in the South tended to adopt the so-called white ways, such as taking up farming in the tradition of white settlers, which they didn't. We taught them how to farm. This is a known historical fact that all of us know without even asking who taught the so-called pale people how to farm. Remember the Mayflower came, they was dying of starvation because they didn't know how to cultivate food.
That's right.
Right. So in some cases, even buying and owning enslaved black people. They got to throw that in there, right?
They had to put that out for now.
I like that right there.
15.
Okay. In fact, settlers hungry for land were actually dismayed to see these tribes, contrary to all the grotesque propaganda about them being savages, adopted the farming practices of white Americans.
Yeah,
this don't even make sense. This is not even possible.
Yeah, right.
Right? But this is the story, the narrative they're giving us. So we're going to work with it. The accelerated desire to relocate indigenous people to the West was a consequence of the election of Andrew Jackson in 1828. Jackson had a long, complicated history with indigenous tribes, having grown up in frontier settlements where stories of attacks by them were common. Right? Now, before we go any further, so the question on Haile Selassie and the relation to Enlil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, remember Baba did that scroll called Is Haile Selassie the Christ?
Yeah.
And you remember he went through his whole genealogy in here and he went back like a long way back.
Yeah.
Right. So why did Pops do that?
Go ahead.
You got to know Haile Selassie.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
If he want us. The children of Enlil.
Yeah.
Right? They looking for a homeland on earth. We ain't giving them shit.
White supremacists that were trying to meet the same objective, but he was just smart. Like if we all say we agree on something, but we can't work together. Me and him don't agree on nothing, but we do agree on one thing. We all want to have this connection for us to go back and forth to Africa. So he worked who he could work with. So I'm sorry, I was just because people always try to change the story and they half-ass do research, especially about Marcus Garvey.
Now, a lot of when they be talking about Pan-Africanism, when you go over there, because if you get a Pan-African education, like Noble Ali said, get a good Moorish education. Right? So when you study the Moors, it's going to tell you something about a group of people that don't behave like you.
Right.
Right? When Garvey say form a confraternity, a world African confraternity, Asia meets Africa, right? The uniting of what they say, all of them say uniting the Asia and Africa. That's to who? That's the father and the mother. That's Isis and or Inanna and Enki, right? Or Isis and Osir. Asia. So bring mom and dad back together. What do that produce? The black dog, right? So that's coming over here,
and that's why Ryan's good is out right now.
right? So when we look at the foundations of government, they don't have nothing to us. Under the matriarchy, the process is a process of nature. The natural order of the spiritual ranking system will be expressed in the domain of the public or the human. We're going to act as godly as we attain. If you don't attain godhood, you can't become godly. If you don't pay attention to your God self, you can't behave like a God.
Mm-hmm.
If all you focus on is your physical self, you can only behave within the confines of the laws of physics or the physical realm. But when you start using your God self, you above them. Now you looking down on this shit like, why did I give a fuck that somebody got murdered? I created that shit,
Mm. Yep.
right? If you
Mm-hmm.
God, if you truly in your God self, when you created the good, the byproduct it's the shadows, it's the art counterfeit spirit, it's the reflection of the thing you created. So when you created all these righteous motherfuckers, they
Mm-hmm.
had to be inhabited with unrighteousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Paul say that when I try to do right, for some reason I can't do
Yep.
that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But when I ain't trying to do right, this motherfucking demon right here
Mm-hmm.
be all up in me. So every time I try to do right, this motherfucker rise up and make me behave according to him. Who is this motherfucker he's wrestling with? W.E.B. Du Bois put it like this in The Warring Soul, in the
Mm-hmm.
souls of black folks. He
Mm-hmm.
says, two identities in me.
Yep.
One, a construct of a white supremacist society created and gave to me as my personal self. And the other self that I'm always wrestling with, my true identity of blackness and who I really am. Right? When you talk about blackness under those in that context, you're talking chaos energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you're fighting against the artificial self, the only thing can defeat it is control chaos.
Right.
So that means that you have to first go into the chaos. They call that going insane.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come out of the chaos, is when you learn how to put the chaos in order in the 3D realm.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So once you start putting your own mind together, the side effect is as you speak about what you did when you put your mind together, you reconstructing the mind of the rest of the lost.
Yes, sir.
Like that's why, like I said, because I was telling you, Marquise, I was like, I feel like her story had been told, right? Because everyone just kind of always talks about it. But I'm like, that's the really true version. That's the first Phoenix. That's the real version of, conquering death, hell, and the grave. Because it wasn't just that she picked up the pieces of Osiris from the scattered land, which is picking us up right now. We're kind of going through a set situation. Because if you look at all throughout the land, this whole land, everyone is rising up through all the various places. But she also went down because in order to resurrect him, she had to go down into what they call hell. And then she created a phallus from light so that she could create a new light and resurrect. So if you ever have an offset or ISIS altar, you got to have not only a feather, but you have to have something that is resurrecting of dealing with quote unquote death or resurrection. You can't just have no offset altar and just have something cutesy. You got to have something that she represents resurrection in life and death in there. And so people have kind of minimized her story. And so I always have to retell it properly in the proper context of the true divine feminine energy of the rising of the true phoenix, because she is the rising of the phoenix. Like that is the energy.
Okay, now something else that we need to ponder when we're looking at that. The
Mm-hmm.
humanity of it, meaning the mortal aspect,
Mm-hmm.
right? When Osiris was killed, that was the love of her life.
Yes.
So we don't think that she fell apart emotionally.
Right.
And when she was putting him back together, it never crossed nobody's mind that she was creating her pathogenic son that they call Heru,
Right.
right? So in other words, she was teaching his son to be just like his daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So what she do in the end? She resurrected the father and the son.
Mm-hmm. And why we have to have the divine feminine and masculine. Like that's why they wanted to
Always,
separate them. Because
always.
they know together we powerful. So that's why it's a requirement that the
And that's
divine
the sick part, man. I'm not. We say, and one of the funny thing about being a sovereign entity, a god, or whatever we want to call ourselves now, right? We look at everybody else around us, man. Like I be around so many people. Like you ever just be around some people and just be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? People be lost like a motherfucker. You just be trying to figure this shit out. Like that's where I'm at with it. I'm trying to save as many. I don't know where I'm at with it. I'm trying to save as many people as possible. But you know how that shit is. Like brother said, shit. A lot of people just here for the fuel and flame. But you notice that a lot in New Orleans, a lot in Mississippi. Like I come to them with a brand new way of thinking. Like yo, this is right. You know what I'm saying? You see, I'm still alive. I went out there. I stepped outside the box. I'm back. And this is what we got here. We can try this. It's different. We can leave all the other shit alone. And some motherfuckers just stuck. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just in between. Do we rebuild? Like he said, we've already been doing this for so long. It's like, real quick though, if you look at the screen, the way our screen is split right now, it kind of look like a Dogon. I can't pronounce the name, but the Dogon mask, which is actually a big thing tonight. Also the currency thing, back to what you're talking about, because I don't want to get too far off. You're talking about full moon, eclipse, Taurus, money, eclipse in your money, war in your money. Or should we attack? Some people are saying, take that as, I don't want to attack the industry right now. I take that as, think about it, Taurus, attack the industry right now. Attack everything that makes sense right now. Right? Oh, real quick before we forget, CMOS. Niggas about to be selling CMOS on the corners like weed around this motherfucker. They're trying to ban CMOS. CMOS.
Okay, let me give you a spoiler. Anything that you think that they trying to ban, they trying to get your attention with that shit.
I peeped that too. Yeah, I was trying to figure that shit out myself.
Look, if they think that if you go, because you got a person that be trying to avoid those woke niggas, those campus niggas, or those Muslim niggas. You got people that actively avoid those niggas that's always talking that knowledge shit. So, in order to get one of them motherfuckers to pay attention to one of them niggas that's talking that knowledge shit, when they bring up Sabi, right? And they got enough Nipsey Hussle in them to know who Dr. Sabi is and that he advocated CMOS, right? So now he was ducking all of the knowledge motherfuckers, but now they finna ban CMOS. Then he go, that's how you crack through the conscience of a motherfucking hardhead.
Right.
It's all
It's so hypocritical. You talking about we niggas is dumb. Like we acting like, oh, our ancestors this, our ancestors. You let them break the treaties. They breaking treaties right now with the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech.
You ain't looking at it.
No, I get it. But on the God status, they got Kyrie pent up in the corner for his speech. On some, we want bans because you said something. What happened to freedom of? What happened to these articles that we know they don't exist? But why now as gods? Why are we penetrating like? Where's the comeback of the beautiful? Kyrie, you don't got nobody smart enough around you to be like, we're suing you for going against our freedom of speech, or does that go back to the contract thing? The thing when you sign contracts?
I think I understand. Just to see that people got to get exposed. It is what it is. They got to be drug. I mean, it just kind of, it is what it is. Like, that's why I think I'm moved, and meaning I'm supporting, but I'm not moved because I understand this. Part of the eclipse season is it's exposing people too. Like, that's part of what eclipses do. It opens up, it exposes, like not just in the Kyrie, but also in people's individual lives. So you have to look at things are like stuff is going to come out in people's individual lives, in the spirit realm, in political realms, and finance. Like, shit is just in the open. Like, you lay that shit out on the table.
Why they never took Mardi Gras from New Orleans?
Because we would tear that bitch up.
You can't.
Right, because it's something in the people that if you take that away from them, it causes them to react like a person detoxing from a drug. They rebel because they can't. They used to having an open ancestral channel.
Right.
And now motherfuckers trying to close that shit. Okay, look at it. Listen, look at it with the guideline. You not finna stop a motherfucker from New Orleans from having Mardi Gras. So what do? You make that motherfucker to a big deal every time they have it.
Right.
Right? So they know that it's still there, but it's only a big deal in New Orleans and you everywhere else.
Oh, you try to temper the energy and make it seem like it's commercialized or try to minimize it. Yeah.
Right. Try to make it seem like it's some evil demonic shit that they only do in New Orleans.
Right.
1,000 pardons. Just say we just did the Google, just a 21 with the OGs out here, with the OG, the goddess herself, Suni Patterson. When I tell you, fuck all the bullshit, come out there for yourself and see the shit. When I tell you, we weren't just stomping to be seen. We stomping was the white people neighborhoods, the Irish neighborhoods, the Jew neighborhoods, and we was stomping out that bitch. Skinheads was out there. I wasn't trying to do all that with the cameras. I'm trying to show the beauty of it, but it was skinheads out there, bitch. Like New Orleans, they bought it, but we were stomping on that shit saying, and we were reminding them, yeah, we remember we killed y'all one time. It literally, that ceremony was saying, we killed y'all and we slaughtered y'all right here. We remember, and let's dance about it, and let's talk about it, and let's play about it. We had the demon out there with us.
Yeah, I saw
The
that.
argument, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's on some other shit. Like, we still stomping on motherfuckers. It's just motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to interject that part, but it's bigger than just, oh, it's being seen. No, it was a whole ritual. We were stomping on their shit. We were stomping on their grave. We were laughing. We went to the slave quarters in New Orleans and went down there and said, yeah, we bringing our ancestors with us. You know what I'm
People be
saying?
sleeping on New Orleans energy. People don't overstand because I'm Louisiana folk Creole. Like that's what my people say. People sleep on the energy and power that's still to this day that's sitting in New Orleans. Like they don't sleep on them because them people still down there do what they got to do, and they'll do it with a smile. Like I'm talking about all the time, every day in and day out. They got as much going on. I would dare to say as I like as far as to me an American portal, New Orleans has kept it going. It's a reason they try to give a bad reputation and say, well,
Nah,
don't go mess with that Louisiana girl. Don't
when it
eat
comes
that
to
food.
rap, I ain't even gonna put that out there no more. That's just for the dumb ones. They say bad reputation, but that's for people that just don't
No,
know
I
shit.
don't care. I don't care. But I'm saying the reason why, just like how they talk about IAT, they talk about Louisiana, in particular, the New Orleans or the Baton Rouge point with the New Orleans, because it's an energy down there and it's a power down there. And to this day, like I'm telling you what I know. Yeah, I'll just say that, and they have kept it going. And to me, it's a reason that I feel like that they have used to put those hurricanes and was constantly attacking them, just like they was attacking IA with hurricanes and earthquakes, because they were attacking the people because it's energy and they could feel that energy and those ceremonies that was coming from that portal. Them people be always putting in work. They ain't never stopped, never.
So
Not in New Orleans, yeah.
a good thing to explain like where we at right now, energetically, and people understand this is okay. So you got to understand we in a transitional time from going from the lunar moon cycle
Mm-hmm.
into the solar sun cycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the natural transitional phase on the 3,600 year
Mm-hmm.
elliptical orbit. 2,400 years of that
Yep.
and some change
Mm-hmm.
is how often we change the age.
Right. We're in a changing of an age right now.
Okay, so we going from the Piscean age into
Mm-hmm.
the Aquarian age. The Piscean age, the motto that goes with the Piscean age is I believe.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to knowing. Yeah,
Yeah,
from believer to knowing.
right. And the one for Aquarius is
I know.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can prove this shit here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the people that used to
Mm-hmm.
believed in it long enough for it to be in the collective unconscious so it could
Mm-hmm.
be downloaded and utilized for the advantage of the people.
Mm-hmm.
All of their beliefs becomes our responsibility to manifest. So we don't have
Mm-hmm.
to believe that shit.
Right.
They did that for us,
Right.
right? So the phoenix, what, goes down in its own ashes
Mm-hmm.
because we burnt yesterday the fuck down,
Over. Over.
and that's why the sun had to come up for us to have a new day from the ashes.
And this is and the eclipse energy is a 6 month cycle. So that cycle, and it's interesting you said Pisceanic because their Saturn, meaning their harmonic return, ending their Saturn energy, all that dark energy is at March 23rd, 2023. So that's what I'm saying. They're closing out completely, not only their cycle, but also them having to receive their harmonic debts for everything they've done, all that blood sacrificing, all that murdering, lying, taking money, taking people's indigenous land, stealing of the planet. That's another reason they're nervous and trying to do the stuff, because they're a lot of what they're doing is trying to, they think, tamper their own harmonic return galactically and astrologically that's coming on them. Starting, the first one is March 7th, but then March 2023, which it sits in for 19 of their years, and they're the one who created this fake time construct. So yeah, and we'll be sitting in our return of taking back our land and rebalancing the energies and stuff. So yeah, it's a cleanup.
Since you mentioned for the last year, we've been in the birth chart or the natal chart for the United States. It's
Mm-hmm.
been in the Pluto retrograde.
Well, no, they getting ready to start it. It hasn't started yet. They're gonna be in a Pluto retrograde starting March 7th, 2023. So, but they've been in there. We've been in our Saturn and Aquarian, meaning us as a collective have been in our Aquarian energy. But America and kind of the Great Britain is getting ready to start their shit officially in March. But it's kind of getting the what I call on the runway, like with the plane on the runway and the startup. That's what these eclipses have been doing, is letting them know what's coming. Because this energy that we're going through now, which is why they closing the feds and having all this, the tribunal stuff that you talked about, the inky, this is just a runway. This shit ain't even hit yet. That's why they nervous, because it haven't even really started. This is just a runway. The plane ain't even in the air yet.
Sure. Okay. So when we going into the Pluto retrograde, ain't that like here's all of your shit back?
Yeah, that's what they call that the Pluto return. So their Pluto Aquarian return, which is the place that they sit when they officially stole the land in that 1776, is all your shit back. And that's officially for them. That date for that one is March 7th, 2023. And then there's Saturn return in Pisces, because they decided to live under this Pisceanic monetary in particular system and even political system. That's why I said political system is done. So they're getting both of their shit at the same time. And the thing with the Pluto one, that's not something that comes like every 3 months, whatever. It's a once every 200, I want to say 50 or 60 something years. So this is their complete, and it sits for a long time, like 19 years. So, and that second one is March 23rd. So they're literally getting them all at the same time.
So that's what these sigils say in the layout of DC.
Mm.
That's what the translation is. What you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says it's a triple overlay.
Yep.
Financial,
Mm-hmm.
political,
Mm-hmm.
and really it's legal, but it translates as governmental.
Yep.
But it's legal. The law is being returned back to its proper position, which is the great law.
Yep.
Right.
We're going to have a lot of deaths, finances, and of course, return of the land. So all that stuff has got to reset, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the ancient code of kings and the rights to the earth right both is in agreement that once the